The Coffee People podcast is presented by Roastery Coffee Packaging. Roastery is the digital printing company that makes custom printed packaging for coffee products. They create packaging that make even small roasters look like a really big deal. At roastery.com, you'll find out about their fast turnaround time, high-quality product, and low printing minimums. It's what separates them from the rest of the industry. Roastery will quickly become your favorite source for custom American-made product packaging. They work with small, mid, and large coffee roasters, so if you're ready to upgrade your coffee packaging, go to roastery.com to learn more and connect with the team. Link in this podcast's show notes. Do you want to make a podcast? Check out Spotify for Podcasters. Spotify's platform lets you easily make a new show, then distribute it around the world. You can even monetize your podcast. It's all in one place and it's free. It's Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. You use Spotify for Podcasters to record and edit shows right from your phone or computer. You can literally start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Beyond the audio realm, Spotify for Podcasters also has video podcasting tools, not to mention the ability to connect directly with your podcast listeners. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including paid ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. It all sounds pretty good to me. So good that I'm using my platform to recommend anyone starting a podcast, give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, I'm excited to talk to you and learn more about your story
Okay.
and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you worked through a little technical difficulty this morning.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a low tech guy, so
I wish I were more low tech. I wish I had more time away from my computer for certain. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Coffee People podcast, which is part of the Roast West Coast Coffee Network and presented by Roastery Coffee Packaging. If you roast great coffee and you want to showcase it in a great-looking package, you'll find what you're looking for at roastery.com. I'm Ryan Woldt, and this is the Coffee Podcast, where we meet interesting people from all corners of the coffee industry. Today, I'm chatting with Masa Higashida, the CEO and President of NuZee Incorporated. NuZee is a coffee co-packing company that specializes in those single-serving pour-over packages you've probably been seeing at your favorite local roasters. They are based in Vista, California, but got their start in New Zealand. If you want to see what we're talking about today, or you're interested in white labeling your own brand, go to mynuzee.com, NuZee is spelled with 2 E's, while you're listening to today's show. And if you're feeling so inclined, take a detour through roastwestcoast.com to check out this podcast's newsletter. As for me, I'm ready to share the last Coffee People Season 8 podcast and drink a mug of great coffee to celebrate. Maybe I'll put just a splash of First Light Coffee whiskey in there. I hope you're out there celebrating something with a cup of coffee too, because it is time for this Coffee People conversation with Masa Higashida, CEO and President at NuZee Incorporated.
I'm Masa Higashida, founder and CEO at NuZee, and we are coffee foundry, coffee co-packer, working with a coffee brand for packing for their products.
Right, and the big thing right now is single-serving packaging, right?
Yes, right.
I want to ask this right away because I know it's a big deal, but you recently did a collaboration with Stone Brewing Company here in San Diego, where I am. What is it that you are doing with them?
Yeah, so as a neighborhood, Stone based in San Diego. We also based in San Diego. We having great relationship with their management team. We roasted their special coffee seasonally and 3 years. And we both wanted to have some deeper relationship about the coffee side because we believe there are many overlap of client customers. Craft beer lovers also like specialty coffee. Specialty coffee lovers also, love the some kind of a special, detail manufactured, crafted beverage. That's why we started this relation.
Stone is kind of an established name in craft brewing, and I think you just said something that I agree with. I come from a background in craft beer,
Oh,
and
okay.
when I started drinking craft coffee, it was very easy for me to transition because I already understood the concept of tasting and appreciating different origins and different styles. I would like to learn a little bit more about you, Masa. Do you have any first memories of coffee? I mean, you obviously work in coffee now, but how did your relationship with coffee start?
Yes, the first memory of coffee to me was spent coffee. There is a small coffee shop where I lived in Nagoya, Japan. And the backside of that cafe, there is a huge, to me, maybe 3 years old, 4 years old, for a little boy, it's a huge, huge kind of a mountain of spent coffee. The coffee's smell is really not good to me, but very special aroma. And we threw a small stone to the spent coffee mountain. That is my first memory of coffee. And when I was 10 years old or something, I my father told me he had a small coffee shop in Fukuoka, Japan, when before I was born. Of course, I didn't know that. I never drink coffee, but my father loved coffee, drink every day, and he told that the story. So that is my first memory about coffee.
What were you doing before you started this company that you're working with now, NuZee? What was your career
Mm.
like?
Yes, my career started in financial industry. So I worked for a small financial firm in Japan when I was a trainee. And when I was 30 years old, I established the similar company in Seoul, Korea, and run the company in 8 years. And 2010, I sold out that company. Finance is good business, but you should get the big pleasure, big amount, you know. So I wanted to do something different from financial world, so that I decided to switch my business. I sold my business and moved to New Zealand for a break. Yeah.
And then my understanding is that NuZee started in New Zealand. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand this right. It was inspired kind of by the 2011 tsunami, but could you give us a little
Mhm.
background and let us know what happened then and how you got that started?
Yeah, so after I sold my company in 2010 and then moved to New Zealand, Auckland, it's a very beautiful city. And right next year, there was a big tsunami in Japan, and there is no bottle of water at the shelves of stores because At that time, people feared about what do you call it? Nuclear.
Yep, nuclear reactor.
Yes. So they are looking for pure water. So I got many calls from my friend, and they said, please sip the pure water. So my age at the time, my friends had kids, little kids, so they are want to taking care of so about drink water. That's why we started to sip water to Japan. But they said it's tasty and very good, so I wanted to start sell water to Japan. That's why I start this business.
How does NuZee continue down this path? Where does it go? I mean, why did you leave New Zealand in the first place to come here?
Yes, so sipping to water from New Zealand to Japan, I love that because I love the water as well. So tasty, clean, pure. At the same time, when you think about the business, flying is the largest market. Sometimes it brings you a benefit for scale, size.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. is the largest market for bottle of water, so that I wanted to export from New Zealand to the U.S. as well. That's why I set up a small company, which is currently NuZee in California.
You set the company up here, and how did you transition from water into coffee?
Yes, so water and the coffee is my favorite, and at the same time, I get big self stressful about the water and the water when I was in Japan, when I was in Korea. As you know, I worked for financial industry, so I had many meetings every day. Every 30 minutes, I met different people talking about the finance, and we order coffee, we order water. But even though you had coffee and water at the five-star hotels, the taste is not good. But I drank, every 30 minutes that coffee. So I wanted to provide a good water and a good coffee to remove some stressful, like me. And that's why I wanted to provide a good taste water and a good taste coffee. At the same time, so for as a marketing perspective, water is a difficult product to show differences from other water, because
Mm-hmm.
for many people, the water is water, the same. The coffee also difficult to show the quality or taste sometimes, but single serve pour over, this format is very brand new for U.S. market. So bring it from Japan and show it made a big differences for other coffee or other coffee brewing method. Uh, that's why I wanted to switch from water to coffee, especially single serve per hour.
What have your customers thought about the new coffee products you're offering? Has it been a positive or an easy transition? Has there been challenges?
Yes, very, very positive reaction we had about the single serve pour over. So we attended to many trade show of coffees, and we met many buyers at the retailers. They all love it. The taste is better and very convenient. So you don't need any equipment, just mug and hot water. And it's also environmentally sustainable. So everybody loved it. But there is no result of sales of this format. So retail buyers want to see some data result. So they are watching, our company's sales growing first. So first 2 years, 3 years, we got a good response and feedback, but almost no orders. Yeah.
So why keep pushing forward? If it wasn't if people weren't responding, what made you think that eventually they will?
Yeah, it's I believed it's it's just a timing, and if we keep proposing this format to the market, someday people start order this format because, as I said, it's convenient, better taste, and environmentally sustainable. So people love that concept.
I am a person who goes camping and I travel a lot, so I use the single serving coffees on occasion, that product. So I find a lot of value in that. And I have noticed that a lot of companies that I buy coffee from have been using it. My question is, we are in 2023 now. Your company has been working through the beginning and kind of the extension of the coronavirus. How did the pandemic impact your company?
Yeah, it was very hard time to the companies. We are co-packer, packing for other coffee brand. So we started co-packing from 2016, and 2019 we had many orders from great companies. But as soon as Corona hit the market, everybody was panic at the time. So every company, our client, canceled the packing with us. So our revenue would be almost zero. Only in 2 months or 3 months. And it takes time to recover it. But from last year, 2022, we would be busy again. Because the COVID is calmed down. At the same time, due to Corona experience, people doesn't want to touch coffee machine. So, for example, hotel rooms, offices, pour over, single serve pour over is a good item for many people. So now, Corona, it was very hard. But it brings some opportunity to us.
Sure. I certainly was one of those people that didn't want to touch anything at first. We didn't know what was happening.
I know.
I still am like that. I'm still always washing my hands. Do you drink coffee every day? What is your experience with coffee on a regular basis?
I drink at least 2 cups of coffee in the morning before I come to the office. And at the office, I want to check every coffee we produced. So at least 5 cups,
Yeah, that's a lot. That's more than most, I would say.
Yeah.
What does the name NuZee mean, or where does that name come from?
New Zealand. We started this business at New Zealand, and I love there. So that's why I wanted to use this, sounds New Zealand. So that's why the company name is NuZee.
What is next for your company? You're currently operating out of San Diego. What do you see the next few years being like for your company?
So we are expanding it now because many coffee brands now recognize this format, and many coffee lovers want this format. So we would like to expand the facilities, packing facilities in nationwide, and should be focused on packing great coffee into this format.
This is more of a personal question for you.
Mhm.
Do you get a chance to travel back to Japan often or New Zealand often? Is that something that is part of your life still, or are you pretty focused on being here in San Diego?
I have my friends and many shareholders in Japan and Korea, so I often go back in Asia.
What would you say the difference is in the coffee culture between Asia and America? Is there one?
I think there's no differences about the coffee, just the brewing method. So single serve pour over and the single serve brew back coffee is a very popular coffee brewing method in Japan. Currently, there is 3 billion cups consumption in Japan with this format. Only the difference is format, but other things are very similar. They're the same. They enjoy coffee morning, after lunch. Yeah, there's many coffee shops in Korea, Japan, of course, here in US. So yeah, same. So it's very good because all people, Asia, US, has the same culture. So this is good.
One of my favorite things about coffee is how I'm connected to people around the world every day with my cup of coffee.
Well,
And I
mhm.
think that's a very cool experience. This morning, I'm drinking a cup of coffee from the Congo in
Okay.
Africa, which is
Mm-hmm.
unusual for me, but
Mm-hmm.
it's to know that somewhere somebody grew this coffee and it was, traveled the world to get to me is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering when you just told us you drink a lot of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
but if you were to go to a coffee shop, what would you order?
Straight black coffee.
Do you have any particular origins that you like?
I love, every coffee. So I love every, differences. But the when you check the black coffee, you can see the quality of that coffee shop. So that's why I would like to do that. And also, I love straight black. So that's why.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you today or anything that you would like to share about NuZee?
Yes, so NuZee has been focusing on packing great coffee into this single serve pour-over format. And I would love to expand this format more because I believe this is the best way to help coffee drinkers do their part of responsible consumption and can enjoy a great coffee for them.
You mentioned responsible consumption, and earlier you mentioned sustainability with the single serving
Mhm,
packing. Could
mhm.
you tell me what makes it sustainable?
Yes, a single serve brewing one cup at a time reduces waste. So you don't waste coffee, you don't waste water. This is a very important message for not only coffee drinkers, but also non-coffee drinkers, because to everybody, protect resources is very important. That's why single serve is a best way.
Well, I can certainly appreciate that.
Yeah.
We just went through our first tropical storm here in San Diego, and the world is changing, so we need to be more proactive in our efforts.
Yes.
Masa, I really appreciate your time. I know you are very busy with the company and drinking all that coffee.
Mhm.
Thank you for being here and sharing some of your story. And I'm looking forward to getting an opportunity to meet you in real life and maybe have a cup of coffee someday.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. My pleasure as well.
Okay, some key takeaways. NuZee is a coffee co-packer that specializes in creating a single-serving pour-over experience for small roasters and great big brands like Stone Brewing. Masa is from Nagoya, Japan. He remembers playing near a spent coffee grind mountain behind a local coffee shop as a child. Later in life, he worked in finance and then started his own company in Seoul, Korea. It was a good business, but incredibly stressful, so he went looking for another path. He moved to New Zealand to take a break, and not long after that, a tsunami hit the Fukushima nuclear power plant in Japan, causing a meltdown disaster. A disaster that is actually still in the news today, 12 years later. There was an immediate need for clean water supplies. NuZee was born out of that need and Masa's desire to provide aid to his home country. His following entrepreneurial efforts were inspired first by providing water to Japan immediately after the tsunami, and again thinking about the bad hotel coffee he had been drinking while in finance, even when visiting a great hotel. Masa was instinctively filling a need, the need for safe drinking water, the need for better tasting coffee, and finally, the ability to create single-serving coffee experiences for travelers and campers and those coffee drinkers who just didn't want to deal with the full brewing process, but still wanted a great cup of coffee. Even though the initial response from customers, in particular wholesale coffee roasters, was positive, sales success didn't happen overnight, and the coronavirus initially scared clients off from investing in new coffee brewing formats. But when I asked why he continued, why he thought NuZee would succeed, Masa replied simply that he believed. His coffee journey has taken him around the world, and even though his company is based not far from this podcast booth, we connected because I sat on a plane next to Travis Gorney, NuZee's Chief Innovation Officer. He and I drank a cup of airplane coffee and got to talking. What are the odds of that? I and we all find connections through coffee. It's one of my favorite things about the industry, besides, of course, the coffee. Thanks to Masa for taking some time to chat with us today. You can find all of the important links to NuZee on roastwestcoast.com and in this show's podcast notes. I'll also share more about their Big Stone Brewing collaboration. While you're on the roastwestcoast.com website, please sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss any of these interviews or Coffee Smarter Education pods. An enormous thank you to everyone who does. This show continues to be free because of listeners and readers signing up for the free and paid versions of the newsletter, and the support of our sponsors. We have great sponsors, like Roastar Coffee Packaging. Our presenting sponsor prints coffee packaging and focuses on building relationships with coffee brands who have a big story to tell, regardless of their size. Learn more at roastar.com. Our other coffee industry partners include Ignite Coffee Company, Maria Coffee, Cape Horn Coffee Importers, Zoombar Coffee and Tea, Ascend Coffee Roasters, Moster Coffee Company, Steady State Coffee Roasting, San Franciscan Roaster Company, Crossings Coffee, Acento Coffee Roasters, Camp Coffee Company, Civets Roasting Machines, First Light Coffee Whiskey, Hasea Coffee Source, and Coffee Cycle Roasting. Chris O'Brien is the owner and head roaster of Coffee Cycle Roasting, and also my collaborator and the coffee expert on the Coffee Smarter podcast. If you're trying to brew a better cup of coffee at home, you should be listening to that show. Find it wherever you're listening to this one, the Coffee People podcast, which is part of the Roast West Coast Coffee Network. I'll be back with a shortened pod next week to share what is to come in Season 9 of this show, and what the overall future of Roast West Coast looks like. I hope you'll check back then. This episode has been written, produced, and recorded by me, Ryan Woldt. Always tip your baristas, and be sure to drink good coffee.